You're invited to my birthday party, Marcus. Victoria Ashford's lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Behind her, Brittany and Taylor exchanged glances, barely suppressing their laughter. Marcus Thompson stood in the doorway holding her shopping bags. His face revealed nothing. Not surprise, not gratitude, not fear. "Thank you, ma'am," he said. "I'll be there." Victoria's smile faltered for just a fraction of a second. She had expected stammering. She had expected confusion. She had expected him to ask why someone like her would invite someone like him. Instead, she got calm. Perfect, unsettling calm. What Victoria Ashford didn't know, what no one in Beverly Hills could have possibly guessed, was that her poor driver had been waiting for exactly this moment. And when he walked through those doors on Saturday night, nothing would ever be the same. Before I tell you what happened next, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel and stay with me until the very end. Trust me, you don't want to miss how this story unfolds. And please drop a comment below telling me which city you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel across the world. Now let me take you back to where it all began. Marcus Thompson's alarm went off at 4:45 in the morning. He didn't hit snooze. He never did. He swung his legs off the bed, feet hitting the cold floor of his Inglewood studio apartment. The room was small. The walls needed paint. The window rattled when trucks passed on the street below. But everything inside was neat, organized, precise. Old habits from another life. By 5:15, Marcus was already driving his Honda Civic through empty Los Angeles streets toward Bel Air. The city was still asleep. The mansions on the hills were dark shapes against a purple sky. He pulled into Victoria Ashford's driveway at 5:40. The garage door was open as always. The black Mercedes SUV waited inside as always. And Marcus got to work as always. Bucket, sponge, chamois cloth. He moved with practiced efficiency, wiping down the car until every surface gleamed. "You missed a spot." Marcus didn't flinch. He knew that voice. He heard it in his nightmares. "Good morning, Mrs. Ashford." Victoria stood in the garage doorway. Silk robe, perfect hair, coffee cup in hand. Her eyes swept over Marcus like he was something stuck to the bottom of her shoe. "I said you missed a spot. Right there. On the door." Marcus looked. The door was flawless. He had been cleaning cars for 3 years. He knew what a spot looked like. "Yes, ma'am. I'll take care of it." "You'd better." Victoria sipped her coffee. "The Henderson meeting is at 9. $12 million account." "Do you know what $12 million looks like, Marcus?" "No, ma'am." "Of course you don't." She laughed softly. "Just make sure my car is perfect. That's all you need to worry about. That's all you're capable of worrying about." "Yes, ma'am." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "Is that the same shirt from yesterday?" "No, ma'am. I have several identical ones." "Why?" "Because you can't afford variety." Marcus said nothing. "God, you're depressing." Victoria turned to leave. "Car ready by 6:30. Fiji water in the back, not Arrowhead. I don't know why I have to keep repeating myself." "You don't, ma'am. I remember." Something in his tone made Victoria pause. She looked back at him, searching for defiance, finding none. "Good," she said finally. "See that you do." She disappeared into the house. Marcus continued wiping the already spotless car. His jaw tightened, just for a second. Then it relaxed. Control. That was the key. Control. At 6:30, exactly, Victoria emerged in a cream Chanel suit and red-soled heels. She walked past Marcus without acknowledgement. He opened the back door. She slid inside. He closed it gently and took his place behind the wheel. "Sunset Boulevard," Victoria said, not looking up from her phone. "If you take the 405 and we hit traffic, I'm docking your pay." "Yes, ma'am." They drove in silence for 3 minutes. Then Victoria's phone rang. "Brittany." Her voice transformed instantly. Warm, excited, human. "Oh my God, how was Palm Springs? Tell me everything. Was the spa as good as they said?" Marcus kept his eyes forward. his hands steady on the wheel, his ears open. "No, the party is going to be absolutely insane," Victoria continued. "Beverly Wilshire rooftop, 200 guests. Everyone who matters. I'm talking studio heads, tech billionaires, that whole crowd from the Getty benefit." She laughed at something Brittany said. "Well, that's actually why I'm calling. I had the most brilliant idea last night. You're going to die." Marcus's grip on the steering wheel tightened slightly. "What if I invited Marcus, my driver?" A pause. Then Victoria burst out laughing. I know, just hear me out. Can you imagine him standing there among all these people? He probably doesn't even own a jacket that costs more than $50. He'll be holding a champagne glass like he's never seen one before." Marcus stared at the road ahead. A muscle in his cheek twitched. "Oh God, Britt, it's going to be comedy gold. We can all watch him try to make conversation. With real people, with successful people. He'll have absolutely no idea what to say." Victoria wiped tears of laughter from her eyes. Yes, Taylor has to be there. Tell her to bring her good camera. I want this documented. We can watch it at brunch next month. Make it a drinking game. Every time he looks confused, we take a shot. We'll all be wasted in 20 minutes. She laughed again, louder this time. The best part? He already said yes. I invited him this morning. He didn't even hesitate, just nodded like an idiot and said, "Thank you, ma'am," like I was doing him some huge favor. Marcus's knuckles went white on the steering wheel. Then slowly, deliberately, they relaxed. I know, right? This is going to be the highlight of the whole party. Forget the DJ. Forget the ice sculpture. Marcus trying to figure out which fork to use. That's entertainment. Victoria ended the call as they pulled up to her Century City office building. Wait here, she said, gathering her bag. I'll be done around 6. Pick up my dry cleaning during lunch. Receipts in my purse. Yes, ma'am. She opened the door herself, too impatient to wait for Marcus. Then she paused, one foot on the curb. Oh, and Marcus. Yes, ma'am. That smile again, the one that made his skin crawl. I really do hope you take my invitation seriously. A party like this? It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for someone in your position. Try not to embarrass yourself too badly. I'll do my best, ma'am. Victoria studied him for a moment, looking for something. Fear, maybe. Nervousness. Gratitude. She found nothing but calm. See that you do? She said finally, and walked away. Marcus watched her disappear into the building. Then he pulled away from the curb and drove 3 blocks to a parking garage where her clients wouldn't have to see his embarrassing Honda. He parked. He turned off the engine. He sat there in the silence. Then he laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. It was short, sharp, bitter. A joke, he said out loud. I'm the punchline. He leaned back and closed his eyes. The memories came whether he wanted them or not. 15 years ago, Marcus Thompson walked runways in Milan. 15 years ago, his face appeared on magazine covers. 15 years ago, designers fought to dress him. Photographers begged to shoot him, and agents called him the next big thing. That was before the phone call, his mother's voice thin and scared. Baby, I need to tell you something. The word tumor hitting him like a physical blow. The flights back to Chicago, the hospital rooms, the doctors with their careful voices and their devastating numbers. Surgery is possible, but it's expensive, very expensive. How expensive? The doctor had named a figure. Marcus had felt the floor drop out from under him. I don't have that kind of money. There are payment plans, financing options. But you should know, without the surgery, the prognosis is... The doctor hadn't finished the sentence. He hadn't needed to. Marcus had done the math that night. His savings wouldn't cover half of it. His apartment in Manhattan might get him another quarter. That still left a gap the size of a canyon. So he started working. Every job he could get. Catalog shoots, commercial castings, department store campaigns. Work that his agent called beneath him, but that paid actual money. You're killing your brand, his agent had warned. Top models don't do catalog work. You're making yourself look desperate." "I am desperate," Marcus had replied. "My mother is dying." The agent had sighed. "I understand, but the industry doesn't care about your mother. They care about image. And right now, your image is taking a hit." Marcus hadn't cared. He had taken every job, saved every penny, and wired money to the hospital every month. His mother survived. The surgery was successful. For 3 more years, she was healthy, happy, grateful. "You didn't have to do all that for me," she told him once. "You gave up everything." "I didn't give up anything, Mama. I just changed direction." "Baby, I'm not blind. I know what you sacrificed, your career, your future, everything you worked for. You're my future Mama. You're the only thing that matters." She had cried then, and Marcus had held her the way she had held him when he was small and the world was frightening. She passed 3 years later, peacefully, in her sleep. The doctor said it wasn't the tumor, just her heart. It was simply her time. Marcus had buried her in the blue dress he bought with his first big paycheck. The one she always said was, "Too fancy for a simple woman like me." After that, there was nothing left. No money, no career, no connections. The fashion industry had moved on without him. He was 38 years old, broke and invisible. He drifted from city to city. Warehouse jobs, security gigs, delivery routes, whatever paid. 3 years ago, he answered an ad for a private driver in Los Angeles. Victoria Ashford had barely looked at him during the interview. She asked 3 questions. "Do you have a clean driving record? Can you work long hours? Can you follow instructions without argument?" "Yes, yes, yes." "Fine," she had said. "You're hired. Start Monday. Don't be late. I hate lateness." For 3 years, Marcus had been invisible. A tool. A piece of furniture. Something less than human. And now Victoria wanted to make him a circus act. Marcus opened his eyes. The parking garage was silent around him. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through his contacts. The list was short these days. A few old friends. A cousin in Detroit, his dentist, and one name he hadn't called in years. Someone from his old life. Someone who had always believed in him. His thumb hovered over the name. Not yet, he told himself. Not yet. He put the phone away and went to pick up Victoria's dry cleaning. That evening, Marcus drove Victoria home in silence. She had spent most of the ride on the phone with Taylor discussing the party in explicit detail. No, I'm serious. Bring the good camera. The one that shoots video. I want to capture his face when he realizes what's happening. Should we have someone official filming, like a videographer? Too obvious. He might figure it out. No, this needs to look natural. Just us laughing at the poor, confused driver. God, Victoria, you're evil. I'm entertaining. There's a difference. When they arrived at the mansion, Victoria got out without a word. No thank you. No good night. Just the click of her heels on the pavement and the slam of the front door. Marcus sat in the driveway for a long moment. Then he drove home. His apartment felt smaller than usual that night. The walls closer, the ceiling lower. He sat on the edge of his bed and stared at nothing. Then he got down on his knees and reached under the bed. The wooden box was right where he'd left it. Dusty now. The latch broken. But still there. Still holding everything he had left of who he used to be. He pulled it out and set it on the floor. His hands trembled as he opened it. The photographs hit him first. Marcus Thompson, 25 years old, walking a runway in Milan. The lights blazing. The crowd a blur. His stride confident, powerful, unstoppable. He had been magnificent. He remembered feeling magnificent, like nothing could touch him, like the whole world was his. Another photo, magazine cover, GQ. His face filling the frame, his eyes looking directly at the camera with an intensity that seemed impossible now. Marcus Thompson, the new face of American fashion. He had laughed at that headline. That's a lot of pressure, he told the reporter. What if my face gets old? Faces get old, the reporter had said. Legends don't. Marcus set the magazine down gently. At the bottom of the box, wrapped in tissue paper, was a garment bag, black nylon, zipped tight. He had carried it across the country from apartment to apartment, never once considering selling it. Some things you don't sell. Some things you keep because they remind you who you are. He unzipped the bag slowly. The suit inside was charcoal gray. 3 pieces. Tom Ford. He had bought it when Tom Ford meant something. When wearing this suit meant you had arrived at a place most people only dreamed about. He had worn it 3 times. A premiere in New York, an award ceremony in Los Angeles, and his mother's funeral in Chicago. Marcus lifted the jacket and held it up to the light. The fabric was perfect. Not a wrinkle, not a stain, not a single sign of the years that had passed. She thinks she knows me, he said to the empty room. She thinks I'm nothing. He laid the suit on his bed and stood back to look at it. She has no idea what's coming. The next morning, Marcus arrived at Victoria's house at 5:40 as always. He washed the car as always. He opened doors and carried bags and said, "Yes, ma'am," as always. But something was different. Victoria noticed it during the drive to her office. She couldn't put her finger on what had changed. Marcus still looked the same, still spoke the same, still drove with the same careful precision. But there was something in his eyes that hadn't been there before. A spark, a glimmer. Something that made her uncomfortable in a way she couldn't explain. "You seem different today," she said suspiciously. "I'm the same as always, ma'am." "No, something's off." She studied him in the rearview mirror. "Are you sick?" "No, ma'am, I feel fine." "Well, you look weird. Stop looking weird. It's unsettling." "Yes, ma'am." Victoria frowned and went back to her phone, but she kept glancing at him throughout the drive, searching for whatever had changed. She never found it. That afternoon, while Victoria was in meetings, Marcus drove to Koreatown. The tailor shop was tucked between a Korean BBQ restaurant and a nail salon. The sign above the door was faded, the paint peeling. Park's Custom Tailoring in gold letters that had seen better days. A bell chimed as Marcus entered. The shop was small and cluttered. Fabric samples everywhere. Mannequins in various states of dress. The smell of steam and wool. "One moment," a voice called from the back. Marcus waited. An elderly Korean man emerged from behind a curtain. He was small, maybe 5'4", with white hair and thick glasses. His hands were gnarled but steady. A measuring tape hung around his neck like a medal. "How can I help you?" The man's accent was thick, but his English was clear. Marcus held up the garment bag. "I have a suit. It's old, but the quality is good. I need it to fit perfectly." "Let me see." Marcus unzipped the bag and pulled out the jacket. The tailor's eyes went wide. He reached out and touched the fabric with something like reverence. "This is Tom Ford. Real Tom Ford. Not knockoff." "Yes, sir." "Where did you get this?" "I bought it a long time ago, when I could afford things like this." The tailor looked at Marcus more carefully now. Really looked. His eyes traveled from Marcus's face to his shoulders, to his posture, to his hands. "You were model," he said, not a question. Marcus hesitated. "Yes. A long time ago." The tailor nodded slowly. "I can tell. The way you stand. The way you hold yourself. Models have a certain presence, even when they try to hide it." "I'm not trying to hide anything." "No." The tailor smiled. "Then why are you dressed like someone who works at a warehouse?" Marcus didn't answer. "Come," the tailor said. "Try on the suit. Let me see what we're working with." Marcus changed in a small fitting room behind the curtain. The suit felt strange after so long. Heavier than he remembered. More significant. He stepped out and stood in front of the 3-way mirror. The tailor circled him slowly, tugging at the fabric, examining the seams, making small noises of approval and disapproval. "The shoulders are still good," he said. "You haven't lost your shape. That's rare. Most men after 40, they let themselves go." "I try to stay active." "It shows." The tailor pinched the fabric at Marcus's waist. "Here we take in. Maybe half-inch. And the sleeves, they need adjustment. You're holding yourself differently than when this was made." "What do you mean?" "When you bought this suit, you stood tall. Proud. Like a man who knew his worth." The tailor looked up at Marcus. "Now you stand like a man who is trying to disappear. The sleeves hang wrong because your shoulders are curled forward." Marcus said nothing. "When is the event?" the tailor asked. "Saturday." "This Saturday, that's 5 days." "I know. I'll pay extra." The tailor waved his hand dismissively. "Money is not the issue. Time is the issue." He paused, studying Marcus again. "This is important to you. This event." "Yes." "Someone hurt you. Someone you want to prove wrong." Marcus met the old man's eyes. "How do you know that?" "I've been fitting suits for 40 years. Men don't bring out Tom Ford from storage unless they're trying to remind someone of something." The tailor smiled. "Or remind themselves." Marcus didn't respond. "I'll have it ready Thursday evening," the tailor said. "Come back at 7, and when you wear this suit on Saturday, stand tall. Stand like the man who bought it, not the man who has been hiding from the world." "How much?" $300. It was almost everything Marcus had saved that month. He didn't hesitate. "Done." The tailor nodded. "Good. Now go. I have work to do." Marcus changed back into his regular clothes and headed for the door. He paused with his hand on the handle. "Thank you," he said. "Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you walk into that room and everyone stops breathing." Marcus smiled. It felt unfamiliar on his face, like a muscle he hadn't used in too long. "I'll see you Thursday, Mr. Park." "Thursday, 7 o'clock, don't be late." The next few days passed in a blur of routine humiliation. Wednesday, Victoria made Marcus wait outside a restaurant for 2.5 hours while she had lunch with clients. When she finally emerged, she complained that the car was too hot. "Why didn't you leave the AC running?" "You told me not to waste gas, ma'am." "I told you not to waste gas driving around aimlessly. I didn't say anything about sitting in a parking lot like an idiot while I melt in my own car." "I apologize, ma'am. It won't happen again." "It better not." Thursday morning, Victoria spent the entire drive to her office discussing the party with Brittany on speakerphone. "Is Marcus there?" Brittany asked. "Can he hear us?" "He's driving. He's always driving. That's literally his only function in life." "Perfect. So what time should I arrive on Saturday?" 7:30. "I want everyone there before Marcus shows up. I told him 8 o'clock. That gives us time to get everyone in on the joke." "What exactly are we telling people?" "Just that my driver is coming as a special guest, that I invited him as a social experiment. Everyone will understand. They'll be watching for his reaction. And if he actually fits in somehow, like what if he's not as awkward as we think?" Victoria laughed so hard she snorted. "Brittany, please. Have you seen him?" "He wears the same blue shirt every day. He drives a car that's older than some of my clients' children. He probably thinks champagne comes in a box." "True. Okay, I'm just saying, what if?" "Then we pivot. We make fun of whatever he's wearing, or how he talks, or how he walks. Trust me, there will be plenty of material. Men like Marcus don't belong in rooms like that. It'll be obvious within seconds." Marcus kept his eyes on the road, his hands steady, his face blank. "I can't wait," Brittany said. "This is going to be iconic. The most iconic party I've ever thrown. And that's saying something." Thursday evening, Marcus returned to Park's custom tailoring. Mr. Park was waiting for him, the suit hanging on a rack behind the counter. "Right on time," the tailor said. "I like that. Punctuality is rare these days. Is it ready?" "See for yourself." Marcus took the suit into the fitting room. His hands were shaking slightly as he put it on. The fabric felt different somehow. Alive. He stepped out and faced the mirror. For a long moment he couldn't speak. The suit was perfect. More than perfect. The charcoal gray fabric hugged his frame like water. The jacket accentuated his shoulders in a way that made them look impossibly broad. The trousers fell in clean, sharp lines. The vest added a layer of sophistication that tied everything together. He looked like a different person. No, he looked like the person he used to be. The person he had buried under 3 years of yes ma'am and invisible labor. Well, Mr. Park asked. Marcus turned slowly, examining every angle. It's perfect, he said quietly. It's absolutely perfect. I know. The tailor smiled. Now, can I give you some advice? Please. When you walk into that room on Saturday, don't hurry. Don't look around like you're searching for someone. Don't fidget or adjust your jacket or check your phone. Just walk, slow, steady, like you own the building and everyone in it. I'm not sure I remember how to do that. Your body remembers. Trust me, I've seen it. The moment you put on that suit, your shoulders went back, your chin lifted, your spine straightened. The suit didn't change you. It reminded you. Marcus looked at himself in the mirror again. The tailor was right. He was standing differently, taller, more present, more real. Thank you, Mr. Park. Don't thank me. Thank whoever you used to be. He's still in there. The tailor patted Marcus on the shoulder. Go show them. Friday was the longest day of Marcus's life. Victoria was insufferable from the moment she got in the car. She talked constantly about the party, the decorations, the guest list, the menu. She took phone call after phone call, each one louder and more excited than the last. The ice sculpture is going to be amazing. It's a swan. A giant swan made of ice. Can you even imagine? No, ma'am. Of course you can't. You've probably never even seen an ice sculpture. They don't have those at Applebee's. No, ma'am. Victoria laughed at her own joke. That evening, when Marcus dropped her at home, she paused before getting out. Remember, she said, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Not a minute late. I want everyone to see you arrive. Yes, ma'am. And Marcus? Yes, ma'am. Victoria smiled. It was the coldest smile he had ever seen. I really am looking forward to this, more than you know. So am I, ma'am. Something flickered in Victoria's eyes. Confusion, maybe, or the first faint whisper of doubt. But it passed, and she got out of the car, and the door slammed shut behind her. Marcus drove home slowly. The Los Angeles skyline glittered in his rearview mirror. In his apartment, he hung the suit carefully in his closet. He set his alarm for the next evening. He went through his normal routine: shower, dinner, reading before bed. But sleep wouldn't come. He lay in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, thinking about tomorrow. Thinking about Victoria's face when he walked through the door. Thinking about all the insults, all the laughter, all the moments when she had made him feel like nothing. Thinking about his mother, who had always told him to stand tall no matter what. Don't let anyone make you feel small, baby. You're not small. You never were. I know, Mama. Do you? Because sometimes I think you forget. You let people walk all over you. I don't let them, Mama. I just don't fight back. Same thing. Fighting back doesn't mean being mean. It means not accepting less than you deserve. It means remembering who you are even when everyone else forgets. Marcus closed his eyes. I remember, Mama, he whispered to the empty room. I remember. Somewhere across the city, Victoria Ashford was putting the finishing touches on her party plans. Tomorrow is going to be perfect, she told herself in the mirror. Absolutely perfect. She had no idea how right she was, but for very different reasons than she imagined. Saturday morning arrived with pale sunlight filtering through Marcus's window. He had been awake for hours, lying still, watching the ceiling change color as dawn crept across Los Angeles. His phone showed 6:15. The party wasn't until 8 that evening. 13 hours and 45 minutes to wait. He got up anyway. Sitting still wasn't an option. Not today. Marcus made coffee, drank it slowly, then made another cup. He cleaned his already clean apartment. He ironed a shirt he wasn't going to wear. He did 50 push-ups, then 50 more. Anything to keep his hands busy. Anything to keep his mind from racing. At noon, his phone buzzed. A text from Victoria. Don't forget, 8 p.m. sharp, Beverly Wilshire rooftop. Use the service entrance. Marcus read the message 3 times. Service entrance. Even as an invited guest, she wanted him to enter through the back like staff, like someone who didn't deserve the front door. He typed back, "Yes, ma'am." Then he set the phone down and stared at the wall. The service entrance. Of course. At 2 o'clock, Marcus took a long shower. He let the hot water run over his shoulders until it turned cold, then stood there a while longer, thinking, preparing. When he finally stepped out, he looked at himself in the bathroom mirror. The face staring back was older than he remembered. Lines around the eyes, gray at the temples, 3 years of invisible labor etched into his skin. But his eyes were the same, deep brown, steady, alive with something that had never quite died, no matter how hard Victoria tried to kill it. Today, he said to his reflection, today, everything changes. He dried off, wrapped a towel around his waist, and walked to his closet. The suit hung there in its garment bag, waiting. He didn't touch it yet, not until closer to time. At 4 o'clock his phone buzzed again, another text from Victoria. Brittany wants to know if you're actually coming. She doesn't believe you'll show up. Prove her wrong. LOL. Marcus could picture them laughing. Victoria and Brittany and Taylor probably at some expensive restaurant, probably already drinking champagne, probably placing bets on how badly he would embarrass himself. He typed back, "I'll be there." Victoria's response came immediately. "Can't wait." The emojis told him everything. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. The mask was slipping. She wanted him to know this was a joke. She wanted him to feel small before he even walked through the door. Marcus set the phone face down on the table. "I'm going to give you something to laugh about," he said quietly. "Just not the kind of laughter you're expecting." At 5:30, Marcus began getting ready. He took his time with each step. The white dress shirt first crisp and clean. Then the charcoal trousers perfectly hemmed. The vest buttoned carefully. The jacket settling onto his shoulders like armor. Finally the tie. A deep burgundy silk that he had kept wrapped in tissue paper for 15 years. He knotted it slowly the way his mother had taught him when he was 17 and going to his first formal dance. Take your time with the knot, baby. A rushed knot looks sloppy. And you are not a sloppy man. Yes, Mama. And stand up straight. Shoulders back. Chin up. You're not just wearing a suit. You're wearing your dignity. Make sure it fits. Marcus tightened the knot and stepped back to look at himself in the full-length mirror. The transformation was complete. The man staring back at him was not a driver, not invisible, not a punchline. He was Marcus Thompson, former runway model, son of a woman who had taught him that dignity could not be bought or sold or taken away. He was ready. Across town, the Beverly Wilshire rooftop was filling with guests. Victoria stood near the entrance greeting arrivals with air kisses and champagne. She wore a custom Versace gown in midnight blue that had cost more than most people's annual salary. Her hair was swept up in an elegant twist. Diamonds glittered at her ears and throat. "Darling, you look absolutely stunning," she gushed as a studio executive walked in. "So do you, Victoria. This party is incredible." "Wait until you see the ice sculpture. It's a swan, a 15-foot swan. I flew in a specialist from Sweden to carve it." The executive laughed. "Only you, Victoria. Only you." Brittany appeared at Victoria's elbow, champagne glass in hand. "Any sign of him yet?" Victoria checked her phone. 6:45. "He's not supposed to arrive until 8. I told him to use the service entrance." "Service entrance," Brittany snorted. That's cold. That's practical. Can you imagine him walking through the main lobby? Someone might mistake him for a guest. They both laughed. Taylor joined them, her camera bag slung over one shoulder. I brought the good equipment, full video capability. We're going to capture every second of this. Perfect. Victoria's eyes glittered with anticipation. I want to remember this night forever. What's the plan exactly? Taylor asked. Do we just watch and laugh, or is there something more structured? Both. When he walks in, I'm going to make a little announcement. Introduce him to everyone. My driver, Marcus. Then we let nature take its course. He won't know anyone. He won't know what to say. He'll stand there looking lost, and we'll all get to enjoy the show. What if he doesn't look lost? Brittany asked. What if he actually manages to talk to someone? Victoria waved her hand dismissively. Then we'll hear what he says, which will probably be something idiotic. Either way, we win. I don't know, Vic. Something feels off about this. What do you mean? Brittany frowned. When you told him about the party, he didn't react at all. He just said thank you and nodded. That's not normal. Most people would ask questions. Why am I invited? What should I wear? Who's going to be there? Maybe he's too stupid to think of questions. Or maybe he knows something we don't. Victoria laughed sharply. Brittany, please. He's a driver. He knows how to navigate traffic and pick up dry cleaning. That's the extent of his knowledge base. Trust me, when he walks into this room, he's going to be completely out of his depth. If you say so. I say so. Now come on, let's mingle. The real entertainment doesn't start for another hour. The rooftop continued to fill. Tech billionaires in perfectly tailored suits. Hollywood producers with their 20-something girlfriends. Real estate moguls. Fashion designers. Everyone who mattered in Los Angeles gathered in one place to celebrate Victoria Ashford's birthday. And to watch her humiliate a man who had done nothing wrong except be poor. At 7:15, Marcus left his apartment. He walked to his car, slowly savoring the evening air. The suit felt good. The weight of it. The way it moved with him. Like an old friend he had forgotten and suddenly remembered. He got into his Honda and sat there for a moment. You can do this, he told himself. You've done it before. 100 times. 1,000 times. Walking into rooms where everyone is watching. That used to be your job. He started the engine. The only difference is the audience, and the audience doesn't matter. They never did. What matters is how you carry yourself. What matters is who you are when all eyes are on you. He pulled out of the parking lot and headed toward Beverly Hills. Los Angeles glittered around him. The city of angels. The city of dreams. The city that had chewed him up and spit him out and now somehow was giving him another chance. Traffic was light. He made good time. By 7:45, he was pulling into the Beverly Wilshire parking structure. He found a spot far from the entrance where no one would see his old Honda among the Ferraris and Bentleys. Not that he cared what anyone thought of his car. But tonight wasn't about his car. Tonight was about something else entirely. Marcus checked himself in the rearview mirror one last time. Tie straight. Collar perfect. Eyes clear. Service entrance, he said out loud. She wants me to use the service entrance. He thought about it for a moment. Then he smiled. No. At 7:50, Victoria was holding court near the bar. He should be here any minute, she told the small crowd that had gathered around her. My driver. I invited him as a special guest, a social experiment, if you will. That's either brilliant or cruel, someone said. Why not both? Victoria laughed. What's he like, this driver of yours? Quiet. Boring. Wears the same clothes every day. Drives a car that should have been scrapped 10 years ago. Honestly, I don't know how people live like that. But I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to see what happens when someone from that world enters our world, even just for one night? Fascinating, the man said, though his tone suggested he wasn't sure if that was the right word. Brittany appeared again. It's almost 8. Should I watch the service entrance? Yes. Text me the moment you see him. I want to time my announcement perfectly. Brittany nodded and disappeared. The minutes ticked by. 8 o'clock came and went, then 8:05, 8:10. Victoria checked her phone impatiently. No message from Brittany. "Where is he?" she muttered. Taylor approached. Maybe he chickened out. He'd better not have. I planned this entire party around his humiliation. If he doesn't show up... Victoria's phone buzzed. A text from Brittany. "Not at service entrance. Haven't seen him anywhere." Victoria scowled. "Unbelievable. He's late. Or he's not coming at all. Either way, I'm going to fire him on Monday." "Maybe give him a few more minutes," Taylor suggested. "He's already had a few more minutes. I specifically said 8 o'clock. Not 8:15, not 8:30, 8 o'clock. Traffic. There's no traffic between Inglewood and Beverly Hills at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. He's just being himself, late, unreliable, forgettable." Victoria turned back to her guests, forcing a smile. The party continued around her, but her attention kept drifting to the entrance. Every time someone walked in, she looked up expectantly. But it was never Marcus. At 8:20, Victoria was furious. "I'm going to call him," she announced. "This is ridiculous." She pulled out her phone and dialed Marcus's number. It rang 4 times before he answered. "Hello?" "Where the hell are you?" Victoria hissed, trying to keep her voice down. "You were supposed to be here 20 minutes ago." "I'm here, ma'am." "What? Where?" "I just arrived. I'm walking in now." Victoria spun toward the main entrance. "I told you to use the service entrance." "I must have misunderstood, ma'am." "You..." Victoria stopped mid-sentence. The main doors were opening. Someone was walking through. At first, Victoria didn't recognize him. The silhouette was familiar, but different somehow. Taller, broader, more commanding. Then the man stepped fully into the light, and Victoria's champagne glass slipped from her fingers. It was Marcus. But it wasn't Marcus. The man walking through the door looked like he had stepped off a magazine cover. His charcoal suit fit him like it had been painted on. His white shirt was immaculate. His burgundy tie was knotted with the precision of someone who had done it 1,000 times. He walked slowly, not because he was hesitant, because he knew exactly how to command a room. Every step measured, every movement deliberate. His eyes swept the crowd with calm confidence. Whispers rippled through the room like wind through grass. "Who is that? Oh my God. Is he an actor? He looks like a model. Look at how he walks. That's not normal walking. That's runway walking." Victoria stood frozen, shattered champagne glass at her feet, watching the impossible unfold. Marcus walked past her without stopping. He nodded politely. "Good evening, ma'am. Happy birthday." His voice was calm, steady, not a trace of nervousness. Then he continued into the room, and people parted for him like water. Taylor grabbed Victoria's arm. That's not... "That's him," Victoria whispered. Her voice sounded strange, hollow. "That's my driver." "That's not a driver, that's... I don't know what that is." A woman in a red dress approached Marcus almost immediately. "Excuse me, I don't think we've met. I'm Sandra Chen. I work in entertainment PR." Marcus shook her hand. "Marcus Thompson. Pleasure to meet you." "The pleasure is mine." Sandra's eyes traveled over him appreciatively. "Are you in the industry? You have a very distinctive look." "I was a long time ago. Now I'm just here as a guest." "Well, you're making quite an entrance. Everyone is staring at you." Marcus smiled. "I hadn't noticed." He had noticed. He noticed everything. The whispers, the pointed looks, the phones being raised to snap photos. The way Victoria was still standing in the same spot, not moving, like someone had turned her to stone. Sandra laughed. "Modest, too. That's refreshing in this town. Listen, can I give you my card? I'd love to talk more when things quiet down." "Of course." She pressed a business card into his hand. let her fingers linger a moment longer than necessary, then disappeared back into the crowd. Marcus slipped the card into his pocket and continued walking. A waiter approached with a tray of champagne. "Sir." "Thank you." Marcus took a glass and held it properly, stem between his fingers the way he had been taught years ago. A man in a designer suit stepped into his path. "I don't think I've seen you before. I'm Jonathan Reeves, investment banking." "Marcus Thompson." They shook hands. "Thompson. Why does that name sound familiar?" "I couldn't say." "Were you ever in modeling, fashion, something like that?" "A lifetime ago." Jonathan nodded slowly. "I knew it. You have that look, that presence. You can't teach that you know. It's something you either have or you don't." "Thank you. So what do you do now?" Marcus took a sip of champagne. "I drive." Jonathan laughed. "Good one. No, seriously." "I'm serious. I'm a driver. I work for the woman whose birthday we're celebrating tonight." Jonathan's smile faded. He looked at Marcus, then looked toward Victoria, then looked back at Marcus. "You're joking." "I'm not." "Victoria's driver. The one she's been talking about all night." "Has she been talking about me?" Jonathan's expression changed. Something like respect crept into his eyes. "Yeah, she has. She said you would be—" He stopped himself. "She said I would be what?" "Nothing. Never mind. It's not important." Jonathan extended his hand again. "It's a genuine pleasure to meet you, Marcus. You just made this party a lot more interesting." Across the room, Victoria had finally found her ability to move. She stormed toward Brittany, who was standing near the bar with her mouth hanging open. "Did you see that?" Victoria demanded. "Did you see what just happened?" "I saw it. I don't believe it, but I saw it." "How is this possible? How does he look like that? Where did he get those clothes? How does he know how to walk like that?" "I don't know, Vic. I don't know." "This wasn't supposed to happen. This was supposed to be funny. This was supposed to be my entertainment. Instead, everyone is looking at him like he's some kind of celebrity." Taylor joined them, her camera forgotten at her side. "People are taking pictures with him." "What?" "3 women just asked to take selfies with him. He said yes. He's being charming, actually charming." Victoria felt something hot and ugly rising in her chest. This wasn't possible. This wasn't real. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She had invited Marcus to humiliate him, to remind him of his place, to show everyone the difference between people like her and people like him. Instead, he was stealing her spotlight, on her birthday, at her party, in her world. "I need to fix this," Victoria said through clenched teeth. "I need to remind everyone who he really is." "How?" Brittany asked nervously. "Watch me." Victoria smoothed her gown, fixed her smile, and walked toward Marcus. He was talking to a small group of people when she approached. 3 men and 2 women, all of them hanging on his every word. "And that's when I knew I had to make a change," Marcus was saying. "Sometimes life takes you in directions you never planned. The important thing is to keep moving forward." "That's beautiful," one of the women said. "Marcus!" Victoria's voice cut through the conversation. She placed herself directly in front of him, blocking the group. "There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you." "Good evening again, ma'am. Lovely party." "Isn't it?" Victoria's smile was fixed, brittle. "I'm so glad you could make it. I was worried you might feel out of place." "Not at all. Everyone has been very welcoming." "Have they?" Victoria turned to the group. "I see you've all met my driver." The word landed like a bomb. Driver. She emphasized it, stretched it out, made sure everyone heard exactly what she meant. But the group's reaction wasn't what she expected. "Yes, we know," Jonathan said. "He told us. It's quite a story. Modeling, then family tragedy, then driving to make ends meet. Inspirational, really." "Inspirational," Victoria repeated. "Absolutely. How many people would sacrifice a successful career to take care of their sick mother? That takes real character." Victoria's smile faltered. He told you about his mother. Just briefly. Enough to explain how he ended up here. Jonathan clapped Marcus on the shoulder. We were just talking about resilience, about how setbacks don't define us. Marcus seems to understand that better than most people in this room. Victoria stood there speechless. This was not how it was supposed to go. She had planned to expose him, to make everyone see how pathetic and out of place he was. Instead, his story was making him sympathetic, making him interesting, making him human in a way that none of the polished executives and trust fund babies in this room could match. If you'll excuse me, Victoria said stiffly, I need to check on the ice sculpture. She turned and walked away, her heels clicking sharply on the floor. Behind her, she heard Jonathan say, Your boss seems intense. And she heard Marcus reply, She has high standards. No sarcasm, no bitterness. Just a simple statement. And somehow, that made it worse. Victoria made it to the far side of the rooftop before she allowed herself to fall apart. This is a nightmare, she whispered. This is an actual nightmare. Brittany found her moments later. Are you okay? Do I look okay? My driver is over there charming everyone at my party while I hide in a corner like some nobody. Maybe we should just let it go. Call off the joke. Pretend it was never. Call it off, call it off. I've spent the last week telling everyone to watch him embarrass himself. If I don't do something, I'm the one who looks foolish. What are you going to do? Victoria's eyes narrowed. She watched Marcus across the room, watched him laugh at something someone said, watched him navigate her world like he belonged there. I don't know yet, she said, but I'll think of something. The party continued around them. Music played. Champagne flowed. The 15-foot ice swan slowly melted in the center of the room. And Marcus Thompson, the invisible driver who was supposed to be a joke, stood in the middle of it all, more visible than he had been in years. More visible than Victoria Ashford had ever wanted him to be. Victoria's mind raced as she watched Marcus from across the room. Every few seconds another guest approached him. Another handshake. Another laugh. Another business card pressed into his palm. This was supposed to be her night. Her moment. Her celebration. Instead, her driver was becoming the star attraction. I need another drink, she muttered to Brittany. Maybe you should slow down. You've already had. Don't tell me what to do. Victoria snatched a champagne glass from a passing waiter. I'm thinking. Taylor appeared beside them, her face pale. You need to see something. What now? Taylor held up her phone. Someone posted a photo of Marcus. It already has 200 likes. Victoria grabbed the phone and stared at the screen. There was Marcus mid-conversation looking like he had just stepped off a fashion shoot. The caption read, Who is this man just walked into the Beverly Wilshire looking like this? Someone find me his number. This is insane, Victoria breathed. This is absolutely insane. It gets worse. Look at the comments. Victoria scrolled down. Her stomach dropped with every word. He looks like a model. Those cheekbones could cut glass. I would risk it all for this man. Why do I feel like I've seen him before? Seriously, who is he? Victoria handed the phone back to Taylor, like it was something diseased. Delete this. I can't delete it, I didn't post it. Then find out who did and make them delete it. Victoria, it's the internet. Once it's out there. I don't care. Fix it. Fix this. Fix something. Brittany put a hand on Victoria's arm. Maybe we should just accept that the joke didn't work. Cut our losses. Enjoy the rest of the party. Victoria turned to her with fire in her eyes. Accept it. Accept that my driver upstaged me at my own birthday party. Accept that everyone is going to be talking about him instead of me. That's your solution. I'm just saying. Well, don't. Victoria drained her champagne glass. I'm going to fix this myself. She smoothed her gown, lifted her chin, and walked directly toward Marcus. He was speaking with a woman Victoria didn't recognize. She was older, maybe 50, with short gray hair and sharp eyes. Professional. Understated. Not the usual Beverly Hills type. Marcus. Victoria interrupted, not bothering to acknowledge the other woman. Can I speak with you privately? Marcus turned to her calmly. Of course, ma'am. Just give me a moment to finish this conversation. It wasn't a request. The gray-haired woman raised an eyebrow. I don't believe we've met. I'm Kelly Morgan. Lovely. Victoria didn't even look at her. Marcus, now. It's all right, Kelly said smoothly. We can continue later. Marcus, here's my card. Call me Monday. I think we have a lot to discuss. She handed him a business card and walked away without another glance at Victoria. Marcus tucked the card into his pocket. You wanted to speak with me, ma'am? Victoria grabbed his arm and pulled him toward a quieter corner of the rooftop. Her grip was tight, possessive, angry. What the hell do you think you're doing? She hissed once they were away from the crowd. Attending your party, ma'am, as you invited me to do. I didn't invite you to charm everyone. I didn't invite you to collect business cards like some kind of social climber. I invited you to... She stopped herself. Marcus's expression didn't change. You invited me to what, ma'am? Victoria's jaw tightened. Don't play games with me. You know exactly what this was supposed to be. I'm afraid I don't. A joke, Marcus. You were supposed to be a joke. You were supposed to stand there looking lost and confused while everyone laughed. That was the point. That was the entire point. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. His eyes were steady. Calm. Not angry. Not hurt. Just steady. I know, he said quietly. Victoria blinked. You know, I've known since you made the phone call to Brittany. In the car. The day you invited me. You heard that. I hear everything, ma'am. I've been hearing everything for 3 years. Every insult. Every joke at my expense. Every time you talked about me like I wasn't there, like I wasn't human. Victoria's face flushed. That's not, I didn't mean... You called me a joke. You said I wouldn't know which fork to use. You said my life was worth nothing. You said men like me don't belong in rooms like this. I was just... You planned to humiliate me in front of 200 people. You wanted to watch me suffer. You wanted to feel powerful by making me feel small. Victoria opened her mouth, but no words came out. I understand why you did it, Marcus continued. People like you need people like me to feel better about yourselves. You need someone to look down on, someone to remind you how far above everyone else you are. That's not fair, isn't it? Victoria's eyes darted around the room. People were watching, not obviously, but watching nonetheless, wondering what the birthday girl was discussing so intensely with the mysterious man in the perfect suit. Lower your voice, she said. My voice is perfectly low, ma'am. I've had a lot of practice speaking quietly. 3 years of practice. This is not how tonight was supposed to go. I know. You wanted me to fail. You wanted everyone to see what happens when someone from that world enters your world. But here's the thing, ma'am. This was my world first. Victoria stared at him. What are you talking about? Before I was your driver, before I was invisible, before I spent 3 years saying yes, ma'am, to every insult you threw at me, I was someone. I walked runways in Milan. I had my face on magazine covers. I knew how to enter a room and make everyone stop breathing. That's impossible. Is it? Marcus's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. You never asked about my past, ma'am. You never asked about anything. To you, I was just a driver. A tool. Something to use and discard. Victoria shook her head slowly. I don't believe you. That's your choice, but it doesn't change the truth. If you were really a model, why would you be driving cars for a living? Why would you take orders from me? Why would you let me treat you like nothing? Marcus finished for her. Because my mother was dying. Because the medical bills were more than I had ever made in my life. Because I sold everything, my apartment, my savings, my career, to keep her alive. Victoria's face went pale. She survived, Marcus continued. The surgery worked. She had 3 more good years. 3 years where I got to hear her laugh and tell stories and remind me who I was. 3 years that were worth more than every runway I ever walked. I didn't know. You never asked. The words hung in the air between them. Victoria looked at Marcus like she was seeing him for the first time. And in a way she was. For 3 years he had been invisible to her. A piece of furniture. A necessary inconvenience. Now suddenly he was a person with a past, a person with depth, a person who had sacrificed everything for love. And she had tried to destroy him for entertainment. I need to go, Victoria said, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't. She turned and walked away quickly, her heels clicking on the floor. Marcus watched her go. His expression didn't change. He felt no triumph, no satisfaction, just a strange, empty calm. That looked intense. He turned. Kelly Morgan had reappeared, a fresh drink in her hand. It was, Marcus admitted. Your boss doesn't seem happy. She's not my boss after tonight. Kelly raised an eyebrow. Oh, I'll be resigning Monday morning if she doesn't fire me first. Well, that works out perfectly then, because I was serious about that meeting. What meeting? Kelly smiled. I run a talent agency. We specialize in mature models. Men and women who have lived real lives, have real stories, and still have that something special. You have it. Marcus shook his head. That was a long time ago. Talent doesn't expire. Presence doesn't expire. The way you walk, the way you hold yourself, the way you command attention without trying, that's rare. That's valuable. I'm 42 years old. And George Clooney didn't hit his peak until his 40s. Same with Idris Elba. The industry is changing. People want authenticity. They want faces that tell stories. Your face tells one hell of a story. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Why are you at this party? Victoria's design firm decorated my office last year. She invited everyone in her contact list. I said yes because the champagne is always good, and sometimes I find exactly what I'm looking for. And what are you looking for? Tonight, apparently you. Marcus looked at the business card in his pocket. Kelly Morgan. Ford Models LA. Senior Talent Director. I don't know, he said slowly. That life is behind me. It doesn't have to be. Listen, I'm not going to pressure you. But call me Monday. Let me buy you coffee. We can talk. No commitments. Just a conversation. Why would you take a chance on someone like me? Kelly finished her drink and set the empty glass on a passing waiter's tray. Because I've been in this business for 30 years, and I can count on one hand the number of times someone has walked into a room and made everyone stop talking. You did that tonight. You did it without trying. That's not something you learn. That's something you are. She patted his arm. Monday. My office. Think about it. She walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Marcus stood alone for a moment, processing everything that had just happened. Excuse me. He turned. A young woman with a camera was looking at him nervously. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm the party photographer. Would it be okay if I took your picture? You're getting a lot of attention tonight, and my client likes to document. Your client, Mrs. Ashford. She hired me to capture the party highlights. Marcus almost laughed. Victoria had hired a photographer, and now that photographer wanted pictures of him. Sure, he said. Go ahead. The camera flashed. Once, twice, 3 times. Thank you so much. You're very photogenic. So I've been told. The photographer scurried away. Marcus turned and found himself face to face with Brittany. Oh, she said, clearly not expecting to run into him. Hi. Hello? Awkward silence. Look, Brittany finally said, I just want you to know that the whole invitation thing wasn't entirely my idea. Victoria was the one who, I know. You do. I know everything. I've known from the beginning. Brittany's face crumpled. God, that's so much worse. Why is it worse? Because you knew we were going to make fun of you, and you came anyway. And you didn't even try to get revenge or embarrass us back. You just existed. Really well, better than anyone expected. Is that a problem? It's making us look terrible. Do you know how many people have come up to Victoria asking about you? Who's that man? Where did he come from? Is he single? She's supposed to be the star of this party, and instead, everyone wants to talk about you. I'm sorry that me not being humiliated has inconvenienced you. Brittany winced. Okay, I deserve that. You did. Can I ask you something? You can ask. How do you do it? Stay so calm, I mean. If I were in your position, I'd be screaming at everyone, or crying, or both. Marcus considered the question. When you've lost everything that matters, the opinions of strangers stop meaning much. That's sad. No. It's freedom. Brittany looked at him for a long moment. You're not what I expected. I know. I think Victoria really messed up. Inviting you, I mean. Not because you embarrassed her, although you did, but because now she has to face the fact that she spent 3 years being awful to someone who didn't deserve it. That's between her and her conscience. Does she have one? Marcus didn't answer. Brittany sighed. Look, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. The whole thing was cruel. I went along with it because that's what we do in Victoria's world. We punch down. We make ourselves feel big by making other people feel small. But watching you tonight, seeing how you handled all this with actual dignity, it made me feel gross about myself. That's probably a good sign. Is it? It means you're capable of growth. Brittany laughed a surprised sound. You're kind of amazing. You know that, right? I'm just a man, Brittany. That's all I've ever been. She nodded slowly. I should go find Victoria. Make sure she's not crying in a bathroom somewhere. Probably wise. It was nice meeting you, Marcus. The real you, I mean. Not the version Victoria told us about. Likewise. Brittany walked away. Marcus took a deep breath and looked around the party. The ice swan had melted significantly, water pooling beneath its pedestal. The music had shifted to something slower. Couples were dancing. Groups were laughing. Everyone seemed happy, except Victoria. Marcus spotted her standing alone near the edge of the rooftop, looking out at the city lights. Her back was to the party. Her shoulders were tense. He should leave her alone. He should walk away. He should enjoy the rest of the evening and never think about Victoria Ashford again. Instead, he found himself walking toward her. Beautiful view, he said, coming to stand beside her. Victoria didn't turn around. Go away, Marcus. In a moment. I said go away. I heard you. She finally turned to face him. Her mascara was smudged. Her eyes were red. She had been crying. What do you want? She demanded. Haven't you done enough? I haven't done anything. I just showed up. Exactly. You showed up and ruined everything. How did I ruin anything? Your party is still happening. Your guests are still enjoying themselves. Your 15-foot ice swan is still standing. Mostly. You know what I mean. I really don't. Victoria laughed bitterly. You were supposed to be pathetic. You were supposed to make me feel better about my life. Instead, you made me feel like a monster. I didn't make you feel anything. You did that yourself. Stop being philosophical. I hate when people are philosophical. Then I'll be direct. You planned to humiliate me. It didn't work. Now you're upset because you can't handle the fact that I'm not what you assumed I was. I assumed you were a driver. I am a driver. I'm also many other things. We all are. That's what it means to be human. Victoria wiped her eyes angrily. Don't lecture me. I don't need lectures from my driver. Fine. Then I'll ask you a question instead. What? Why do you need to feel superior to other people? Victoria stared at him. I don't need to feel superior. You do. Everything you do is about being better than everyone else. Your house, your clothes, your business, this party. It's all about proving that you're above everyone. But why? What are you running from? I'm not running from anything. Everyone's running from something. Victoria's jaw tightened. You don't know me. No, I don't. Because you never let anyone know you. You hide behind money and cruelty and designer clothes. You push people away before they can get close enough to see who you really are. And who am I really? I don't know. But I think you're scared to find out. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. The city glittered below them. The party hummed behind them. My father lost everything when I was 12, she said finally. We went from rich to poor overnight. I had to change schools. I had to watch my mother cry herself to sleep. I had to listen to the kids who used to be my friends laugh at me behind my back. Marcus said nothing. I swore I would never be poor again. I swore I would never be on the outside looking in. I built my business from nothing. I clawed my way to the top. And yes, I stepped on people along the way. Because that's what you have to do. That's the only way to survive. Is it? It's worked so far. Has it? You're standing at your own birthday party alone, crying while everyone else celebrates? Does that feel like success to you? Victoria's face crumpled. For just a moment, she looked like a lost child rather than a powerful businesswoman. I don't know how to be different, she whispered. I've been this way for so long. It's never too late to change. You sound like a greeting card. I sound like someone who spent 3 years being invisible and somehow survived. Victoria looked at him, really looked maybe for the first time ever. How did you do it? She asked. How did you let me treat you like nothing and still come out of it like this? Because I know who I am. I know my worth. It doesn't depend on what you think of me. It doesn't depend on what anyone thinks of me. That sounds lonely. Sometimes it is, but it's also peaceful. When you stop needing validation from the world stops having power over you. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. I don't know if I can change, she finally said. You don't have to know right now. You just have to want to. She laughed softly. My driver giving me life advice. If someone had told me this morning that this would happen, I would have fired them on the spot. Speaking of which. What? I'm resigning. Monday morning. Victoria's face flickered with something. Surprise, regret. It was hard to tell. Because of tonight. Because of everything. I stayed too long. I let myself become invisible when I should have remembered who I was. That's on me, not you. Where will you go? I don't know yet. But forward. Always forward. Victoria nodded slowly. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not just for tonight. For all of it. 3 years of treating you like nothing. You didn't deserve that. Marcus considered her words. She seemed genuine. Maybe she was. Maybe this was the beginning of something different for her. Or maybe tomorrow she would wake up and be exactly the same. Either way, it wasn't his problem anymore. I accept your apology, he said. Just like that. Just like that. Forgiveness doesn't have to be complicated. I'm not sure I've ever forgiven anyone. Maybe tonight's a good time to start. Victoria looked out at the city again. The lights seemed to blur and shimmer. Happy birthday, Mrs. Ashford, Marcus said. I hope your next year is better than your last. He turned and walked away. Victoria watched him go, standing alone at the edge of the rooftop, surrounded by 200 people who didn't really know her at all. Marcus made his way back through the party. People smiled at him. People nodded. A few more business cards found their way into his pocket, but he was done performing for the night. He found his way to the main exit and stepped out into the cool Los Angeles evening. The city spread out before him, all lights and possibilities. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Kelly Morgan. I know I said Monday, but I couldn't wait. I made some calls. Everyone wants to know who you are. This could be the beginning of something big. Don't sleep on this. Marcus read the message twice. Then he smiled. Not the polished smile he had worn all evening. A real smile. The kind that comes from somewhere deep inside. He walked to his old Honda in the parking structure. It looked exactly the same as it had 3 hours ago. But somehow, everything else had changed. He got in, started the engine, and drove away from the Beverly Wilshire. Behind him, the party continued without him. Ahead of him, the future waited. Monday morning came faster than Marcus expected. He woke at his usual time, 4:45, but he didn't get out of bed immediately. Instead, he lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened. The party. Victoria's face when he walked in. The business cards in his pocket. Kelly Morgan's text. His phone sat on the nightstand, still showing her message from Saturday night. This could be the beginning of something big. Don't sleep on this. Marcus picked up the phone and typed a reply. I'm not sleeping. What time should I come in? The response came within seconds. Kelly Morgan was clearly an early riser. 10 a.m., my office. I'll send you the address. And Marcus, wear the suit. He smiled despite himself. Then he got up, showered, and put on his usual work clothes. The blue button-down, the khaki pants, the sensible shoes. One last time. He arrived at Victoria's mansion at 5:40, just like every other morning for the past 3 years. The garage door was open. The Mercedes waited inside. But Marcus didn't start washing the car. Instead, he walked to the front door and rang the bell. It took several minutes before anyone answered. Victoria's housekeeper, Maria, opened the door with a confused expression. Mr. Marcus? What are you doing at the front door? I need to speak with Mrs. Ashford. She's not awake yet. It's very early. I know, but this is important. Could you wake her, please? Maria hesitated, clearly uncomfortable with the request. In 3 years, Marcus had never once asked to speak with Victoria directly. He had never once used the front door. Please, he said. It won't take long. Maria nodded slowly and disappeared into the house. Marcus waited on the porch. The morning air was cool. The sun was just beginning to paint the sky in shades of pink and orange. He thought about all the mornings he had spent in this driveway, all the hours waiting, all the insults absorbed, all the dignity swallowed. Today was the last one. The door opened again. Victoria stood there in a silk robe, her hair disheveled, her face bare of makeup. She looked tired, older than usual, human. Marcus, it's 6 in the morning. I know, ma'am. I apologize for the early hour. What is this about? Why aren't you washing the car? Because I'm not going to wash the car today. Or any other day. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Excuse me. I'm resigning, ma'am. Effective immediately. The words hung in the air between them. Victoria stared at him like he had spoken in a foreign language. You're quitting? Yes, ma'am. Because of the party. Because of a lot of things. The party was just the end of a very long road. Victoria crossed her arms. You can't just quit. I need 2 weeks' notice. That's standard. I understand, ma'am, but I'm not offering 2 weeks. I'm offering nothing. I'm done. That's unacceptable. It may be unacceptable to you, but it's necessary for me. Victoria's jaw tightened. After everything I've done for you, 3 years of steady employment, a good salary, flexible hours, and this is how you repay me. Marcus almost laughed. Almost. Everything you've done for me, he repeated slowly. Let me tell you what you've done for me, Mrs. Ashford. You've insulted me every single day. You've treated me like furniture. You've talked about me like I wasn't in the room. You've mocked my clothes, my car, my existence. And then you invited me to your party as a joke, hoping to humiliate me in front of 200 people. I apologized for that. You did. And I accepted your apology. But acceptance doesn't mean I have to stay. So what are you going to do? Go back to whatever life you had before sleep in your car? Beg for scraps? The cruelty in her voice was reflexive, automatic. Even now, even after everything, she couldn't help herself. I'm going to do whatever I want, Marcus said calmly. Because I'm free now. Free of this job. Free of this house. Free of you. Victoria's face flushed. You think you're better than me now because you wore a nice suit to one party and everyone made a fuss? I don't think I'm better than anyone. I never did. That was always your thing, not mine. Get out. I'm already leaving. I mean, get out now. Off my property. Before I call the police. Marcus nodded. Goodbye, Mrs. Ashford. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. He turned and walked back to his car. Behind him, he heard the door slam so hard the windows rattled. He didn't look back. The drive to Kelly Morgan's office took 45 minutes. Marcus used the time to decompress, to let the tension drain out of his shoulders. It was over. 3 years of his life closed like a chapter in a book. Now it was time to start writing the next one. Kelly's office was in a sleek building on Wilshire Boulevard. The lobby was all glass and chrome, filled with beautiful people coming and going. Models, Marcus realized. Young ones mostly, but not all. He gave his name at the reception desk and was directed to the 12th floor. Kelly was waiting for him when the elevator doors opened. Marcus, you came. You said 10 o'clock. I did, but after Saturday I wasn't sure if you'd actually show up. Why wouldn't I? Kelly smiled. Because people get scared. They have one good night, one moment in the spotlight, and then they convince themselves it was a fluke. They talk themselves out of taking the leap. I'm done talking myself out of things. Good. Come with me. She led him down a hallway lined with photographs. Famous faces, magazine covers, fashion spreads, a history of beauty captured in frames. This is the agency, Kelly said. Ford Models. We represent talent across all age ranges, but my specialty is mature models, men and women who have lived, who have stories, who bring something real to the camera. And you think I fit that description? I know you do. I saw it Saturday night. But more importantly, I did some research. Marcus's step faltered. Research. Marcus Thompson, runway model 2005 to 2012. Walked for Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, Armani, Tom Ford. Featured in GQ, Esquire, Vogue, Homme. Once described as the most magnetic male model of his generation. Marcus was quiet. You were something special, Kelly continued. And then you disappeared. No one knew why. People assumed drugs or scandal or just burning out. But that wasn't it, was it? No. Your mother. Yes. Kelly stopped walking and turned to face him. That's the story, Marcus. That's the thing that sets you apart. You walked away from everything to save your mother's life. You sacrificed your career, your fame, your future. And you did it without complaint, without bitterness, without asking for anything in return. I did what anyone would do. No. You did what very few people have the courage to do. And that's why I want to represent you. She opened a door and gestured for him to enter. The room inside was a conference room with a long table and a wall of windows overlooking the city. Sit, Kelly said. Let's talk about your future. They talked for 3 hours. Kelly laid out everything. The current state of the industry, the growing demand for mature models, the campaigns that were looking for exactly what Marcus had to offer. The fashion world is changing, she explained. People are tired of perfect 20-year-olds who all look the same. They want authenticity. They want faces that tell stories. They want real. I'm 42. And Samuel L. Jackson didn't become a star until his 40s. Jeff Goldblum is more popular now than he was in his 20s. Age isn't a limitation anymore. It's an asset. What exactly are you proposing? Kelly slid a folder across the table. Start with this. A watch campaign. Luxury brand. They're looking for a man with presence. Someone who looks like he's lived. Someone who makes people stop and stare. When is the shoot? Next week, if you're interested. Marcus opened the folder. Inside were mock-ups, brand guidelines, compensation details. The number at the bottom made his eyes widen. That's a lot of money for one shoot. That's what you're worth. Actually, it's probably less than what you're worth, but we can negotiate harder on the next one. The next one? Kelly smiled. Marcus, Saturday night wasn't a fluke. Your photos from the party have been shared thousands of times. People are asking who you are. The industry is paying attention. She pulled out her phone and showed him. Article after article. Mystery man steals the show at Beverly Hills party. Who is Marcus Thompson? Former model resurfaces after decade-long disappearance. This is real, Kelly said. This is happening. The only question is whether you want to be part of it. Marcus stared at the phone, the photos, the headlines, his own face looking back at him from a world he had left behind. What do I need to do? Kelly's smile widened. Say yes. Marcus looked at the folder, at the phone, at the wall of windows and the city beyond. Yes. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur. Marcus signed with Kelly's agency. He did the watch shoot, and it went better than anyone expected. The photographer, a legendary name in the industry, pulled Kelly aside afterward. Where did you find this guy? He's incredible. The camera loves him. He found himself, Kelly replied. I just opened the door. More offers came. A cologne campaign, a fashion editorial, an interview request from a major magazine. Marcus said yes to everything, not because he needed the money, although the money was certainly welcome, but because something had reawakened inside him, something that had been dormant for years. He was alive again. Meanwhile, Victoria Ashford's life was moving in the opposite direction. The Monday after her party, she arrived at her office to find her assistant waiting with a concerned expression. Mrs. Ashford, there's something you need to see. What is it? The internet. People are talking. Victoria grabbed the tablet from her assistant's hands. Her blood ran cold as she scrolled. The photos from her party were everywhere, but not the photos she wanted. Instead, people were sharing pictures of Marcus. And alongside those pictures were stories. Stories about how Victoria had invited her driver to humiliate him. Stories about how she treated her staff. Stories about the kind of person she really was. This is lies, Victoria sputtered. This is slander. Ma'am, some of it is from people who were at the party. They're describing what they saw. What they saw was nothing. Nothing happened. They're saying you tried to embarrass him, that you planned the whole thing as a joke. Victoria threw the tablet across the room. It shattered against the wall. Get out. Ma'am. I said, get out. The assistant fled. Victoria stood alone in her office, breathing hard, her mind racing. This couldn't be happening. This wasn't possible. One night, one failed joke, and suddenly her reputation was crumbling. She grabbed her phone and called Brittany. Did you see what's happening online? I saw. We need to do damage control. We need to get ahead of this. Brittany was quiet for a moment. Vic, I don't think there's anything to do. The story is out. People believe it because it's true. It's not true. I was just having a little fun. You invited your driver to your party to make fun of him. That's what happened. That's what everyone saw. He wasn't supposed to be like that. He was supposed to be awkward and lost and pathetic. But he wasn't. And now everyone is comparing him to you. And Vic, I'm sorry, but he's coming out ahead. Victoria's hand tightened on the phone. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe you should lay low for a while. Let this blow over. Lay low, I have a business to run. I have clients. Your clients are getting calls, Vic. People asking if they really want to work with someone who treats people the way you do. That's ridiculous. Is it? Brittany's voice was gentle but firm. You've always been harsh. We all knew that. But this is different. This is documented. This is viral. And the man you tried to humiliate is now everywhere looking amazing, telling his story about sacrificing his career for his dying mother. How do you think that makes you look? Victoria couldn't answer. I'm sorry, Brittany said. I really am. But I think you need to take some time and figure out who you want to be, because the person you've been isn't working anymore. She hung up. Victoria sat in her empty office, surrounded by the shattered remains of her tablet, and for the first time in years, she cried. 3 weeks after the party, Marcus was on the cover of GQ. The headline read, "The Man Who Walked Away and Walked Back." The article told his whole story. The modeling career, his mother's illness, the years of sacrifice, the night at Victoria's party that changed everything. It was honest. It was raw. It was real. And people responded. Messages poured in. From fans, from industry professionals, from people who had their own stories of loss and sacrifice, and starting over. Marcus read as many as he could. Each one reminded him why he had agreed to tell his story in the first place. Not for revenge, not for fame, but for everyone who had ever been made to feel invisible. You're trending again, Kelly told him over the phone. 3 days straight now. I don't know what that means. It means everyone is talking about you. It means offers are flooding in faster than I can track them. It means you're officially back, Marcus. All the way back. Marcus was quiet for a moment. It still doesn't feel real. It is real. This is your life now. You earned it. I didn't earn anything. I just showed up. Sometimes showing up is the hardest part. That night, Marcus visited his mother's grave. It was a small cemetery in Inglewood, not far from his apartment. He had come here often in the years after she passed. Less often lately as grief softened into memory. He knelt beside her headstone and placed a single flower against the marble. I did it, Mama, he said softly. I remembered who I was. The evening air was cool. The city hummed in the distance. You always told me to stand tall, to never let anyone make me feel small. I forgot that for a while. I let myself disappear. But I'm back now. I'm standing tall again. He touched the headstone gently. I wish you could see it. I wish you could see what's happening. But I think maybe you already know. I think maybe you've been watching all along. He stayed there for a long time, talking to her the way he used to when she was alive. Telling her about the photo shoots, the interviews, the strange new world he was navigating. There was this woman, he said. The one I worked for. She tried to hurt me, Mama. She tried to make me feel like nothing. But it didn't work. Because I had you. I had everything you taught me. And that was enough. That was always enough. A breeze stirred the trees around him. I love you, Mama. I'll always love you. And I'll never forget. He stood up slowly and walked back to his car. The next morning, Marcus had a fitting for his first runway show in over a decade. The designer was young, barely 30, but already making waves in the fashion world. She had specifically requested Marcus for her show. I want real people, she told Kelly. Not mannequins, not perfect plastic faces. I want people who have lived, who have stories in their eyes. Marcus arrived at the studio early. The space was chaotic, racks of clothes, makeup stations, photographers' assistants rushing everywhere. A young model approached him nervously. She couldn't have been more than 19. Excuse me, are you Marcus Thompson? I am. Oh my God. Her eyes went wide. I read your story. In GQ. It was amazing. Thank you. Can I ask you something? Sure. How do you do it? How do you stay so calm? I'm so nervous all the time. Every show, every shoot, I feel like I'm going to throw up. Marcus smiled. You want to know a secret? Yes, please. I'm nervous too. Every time. The difference is, I don't let it stop me. But how? By remembering that being nervous means you care. It means you want to do well. That's not a weakness. That's a strength. The young model nodded slowly, processing his words. Also, Marcus added, remember that everyone else is nervous too. The designer, the photographer, the makeup artist. Everyone in this room is worried about something. You're not alone. That actually helps. Good. Now go do your job. You're going to be great. She smiled, some of the tension leaving her shoulders, and hurried away. Kelly appeared beside Marcus. Making friends. Just sharing what someone once shared with me. Who? My mother. She gave me that advice before my first show, 20 years ago. Smart woman. The smartest. The show that night was a triumph. Marcus walked the runway like he had never stopped. His stride was confident, powerful, magnetic. The audience watched in silence, then erupted in applause. Afterward, the designer found him backstage. You were perfect, she said. Absolutely perfect. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for making my clothes look good, she laughed. I mean it, Marcus. You brought something special to this show, something real. That's what I'm here for. She shook his hand firmly. I want you for my next collection. And the one after that. You in, I'm in. He changed out of the show clothes and back into his own suit. The same charcoal Tom Ford he had worn to Victoria's party. It felt different now. Not like armor. Not like a disguise. Just like himself. He walked out of the venue into the cool Los Angeles night. The city glittered around him, full of possibilities. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Congratulations on the show. You were amazing. Marcus frowned. Who is this? A pause. Then Brittany, from Victoria's party. He stared at the screen. How did you get my number? I have my ways. Listen, I know this is weird, but I wanted you to know something. What? Victoria is in bad shape. Her business is falling apart. She lost 3 major clients last week. She's been holed up in her house for days. Marcus wasn't sure what to say. He wasn't sure what he was supposed to feel. Why are you telling me this? Because I think she needs help. And I think you might be the only person who can give it to her. Me? She hates me. She doesn't hate you. She's scared of you. There's a difference. Why would she be scared of me? Because you showed her what she could be. And that's terrifying for someone who has spent their whole life building walls. Marcus leaned against his car thinking, I don't know what you want me to do, Brittany. I don't know either. I just thought you should know. Whatever you do with that information is up to you. She hung up. Marcus stood there for a long time, phone in hand, looking up at the stars. Victoria, the woman who had tried to destroy him. The woman who had made his life hell for 3 years. She was suffering now. Karma, some would say. Justice. But Marcus didn't feel satisfaction. He didn't feel vindication. He just felt tired. What would you do, Mama? He whispered to the night sky. But he already knew the answer. His mother had always taught him that the measure of a person wasn't how they treated people who could help them. It was how they treated people who couldn't. And right now, Victoria Ashford couldn't help anyone, including herself. Marcus got in his car and started driving. He didn't know if he was making the right choice. He didn't know if Victoria would even let him through the door. But he knew he had to try. Because that's who he was. That's who his mother had raised him to be. The gates of Victoria's mansion looked different at night. Marcus sat in his car outside, engine idling, staring at the property he had visited every morning for 3 years. The lights inside were dim. No movement behind the windows. No sign of life. He almost drove away. 3 times he put the car in reverse, ready to leave. 3 times, something stopped him. "This is stupid," he muttered to himself. "She doesn't want to see me. She probably won't even open the door." But he got out of the car anyway. The walk to the front door felt longer than it should have. His footsteps echoed on the driveway. The same driveway he had washed cars on, carried groceries across, stood waiting on, while Victoria made him feel like nothing. He reached the door and hesitated. Then he knocked. Silence. He knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. Marcus was about to give up when he heard footsteps. Slow, shuffling footsteps. Not the confident click of heels he was used to. The door opened. Victoria stood there in sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Her hair was unwashed, pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her face was bare, her eyes red-rimmed and puffy. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. She stared at Marcus like he was a ghost. "What are you doing here? I heard you were having a hard time. So you came to gloat?" "No." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "Then why would you come here after everything?" "Because someone once told me that the measure of a person is how they treat people who can't help them." "Who said that?" "My mother." Victoria laughed bitterly. "Your mother sounds like a saint." She was. They stood there staring at each other across the threshold. The night air was cold. A car passed somewhere in the distance. "Are you going to invite me in?" Marcus asked. "Why would I do that?" "Because you look like you need someone to talk to. And right now, I might be the only person who understands what you're going through." Victoria's jaw tightened. For a moment, Marcus thought she would slam the door in his face. Instead, she stepped aside. "Fine. But I'm not offering you anything to drink. I didn't expect you to." He walked into the house. It looked the same as always, but felt different. Emptier somehow. The lights were too dim. The silence was too heavy. Victoria led him to the living room and collapsed onto the couch. She didn't gesture for him to sit, so he remained standing. "Brittany called you," she said. It wasn't a question. She texted. "Of course she did. Can't keep her mouth shut for 5 minutes. She's worried about you." Victoria laughed again, that same bitter sound. "Worried?" "Right. She's worried that my collapse might affect her social standing. That's what she's worried about." "Maybe. Or maybe she actually cares." "People like us don't care, Marcus. We use each other. That's how this world works." "That's how your world works. It doesn't have to be that way." Victoria looked up at him. "Why are you here, really? Don't give me that stuff about your mother. What do you actually want?" Marcus considered the question. He had been asking himself the same thing the entire drive over. "I don't know," he admitted. "I saw the articles. I heard what's happening to your business, and I thought maybe I should come." "Because you feel sorry for me?" "No." "Then why?" "Because I've been where you are. Not exactly, but close enough. I know what it feels like when everything falls apart. When the world you built crumbles around you. When you wake up and don't recognize your own life." Victoria was quiet. Her eyes dropped to the floor. "It's different for you," she said softly. "You lost everything because of something noble. Your mother. Your sacrifice. People admire that. They respect it. And you? I lost everything because I'm a terrible person." She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That's the truth, isn't it? I spent years treating people like garbage, and now it's catching up with me. Karma. Justice. Whatever you want to call it." "Is that what you believe?" "It's what everyone believes. Haven't you seen the internet? I'm the villain of the story. The evil rich woman who tried to humiliate her poor innocent driver. Thousands of people hate me. Thousands. Do you care what thousands of strangers think? I didn't think I did. But apparently I do. Because it's destroying me." Victoria pulled her knees up to her chest, making herself small. It was such a vulnerable gesture that Marcus almost didn't recognize her. "I built my entire identity around being successful," she continued. around being powerful, around being someone people respected and feared. Now all of that is gone, and I don't know who I am without it. Marcus finally sat down in the chair across from her. "Can I tell you something?" he asked. "Can I stop you? When I lost my career, I felt the same way. I had been Marcus Thompson, the model. Marcus Thompson, the face on magazine covers. That was my identity. When it was gone, I didn't know who I was." "What did you do?" "I fell apart. For a long time. I drank too much. I pushed people away. I convinced myself that I was worthless because I wasn't famous anymore. But you came back. You rebuilt. Eventually. But first I had to hit bottom. I had to lose everything before I could figure out what actually mattered." Victoria looked at him. "And what matters? People, connections, how you make others feel. Not how much money you have, or how many clients you sign, or how big your house is. Just people." That sounds like something from a self-help book. It sounds like the truth. I know because I learned it the hard way. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was barely above a whisper. "I don't know how to be different, Marcus. I've been this way my whole life. Mean, cruel, competitive. It's all I know." "Then learn something new." "It's not that simple." "I didn't say it was simple. I said it was possible." Victoria shook her head slowly. "You should hate me. After everything I did to you. The insults, the humiliation, the party. You should want to see me suffer." I did suffer. For 3 years I suffered. But holding on to that doesn't help anyone. It just keeps me trapped in the past. So you forgive me. I already told you I forgive you. At the party. I meant it. How? How can you forgive someone who treated you like dirt? Marcus leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. Because forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about yourself. It's about letting go of the anger and the hurt so you can move forward. If I spent my life hating you, I'd be giving you power over me. And you've had enough power over me already. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. She looked away quickly, trying to hide them. "I don't deserve your kindness," she said. "Maybe not, but I'm giving it anyway." "Why?" "Because it's who I want to be, not who you made me feel like, not who the world expects me to be. Who I actually am." Victoria wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "I don't know what to do, Marcus. My business is falling apart. My friends won't return my calls. Even my housekeeper gave notice yesterday. She said she didn't want to work for someone like me anymore." "Maria quit." "She quit, after 15 years. She looked me in the eye and said she was ashamed to have worked here." "That must have hurt." "It destroyed me. Maria was the closest thing I had to family, and even she couldn't stand me anymore." Marcus thought about Maria, the quiet woman who had always greeted him kindly even when Victoria was at her worst. The woman who had tried to make his days a little easier with small gestures, a cup of coffee left on the counter, a sandwich when he worked through lunch. Have you tried talking to her? What would I say? She's right. I am someone to be ashamed of. Maybe. But people can change, and the first step is admitting you need to. Victoria looked at him with something like hope in her eyes. It was a strange expression on her face, like a muscle she hadn't used in years. "Do you really believe that I can change?" "I believe anyone can change. Whether they will is a different question." "I want to. I think. I don't know how, but I want to." Then start small. Apologize to the people you've hurt. Not because you want something from them, but because it's the right thing to do. They won't believe me. They might not at first, but actions speak louder than words. If you actually change, if you actually become different, people will notice. And if they don't, then at least you'll know you tried. At least you'll be able to look at yourself in the mirror. Victoria was quiet for a long time. The house settled around them, creaking softly in the night. "I didn't know," she finally said, "about your mother, about your sacrifice, about any of it. I know. If I had known, would it have made a difference?" Victoria opened her mouth, then closed it again. "I want to say yes, but honestly, I don't know. I was so wrapped up in my own world, my own importance. I didn't see anyone else as real." "That's the first honest thing you've said tonight." "It's the first honest thing I've said in years." Marcus stood up. "I should go. It's late." Victoria stood up too, suddenly uncertain. Will you come back?" "Not to gloat. Just to talk. I don't have anyone else." Marcus looked at her. The powerful woman who had made his life hell, now standing in front of him, broken and lost and desperately alone. "Maybe," he said. "If you're actually trying to change, if you're actually doing the work." "How will you know?" "I'll know. People always know." He walked toward the door. Victoria followed. "Marcus." He turned. "Thank you. For coming. For not hating me. For being better than I deserve." "Take care of yourself, Victoria, and remember it's never too late to become someone new." He walked out into the night. The air was cool on his face. The stars were bright overhead. Behind him, he heard the door close softly. He got in his car and drove away, leaving the mansion and that chapter of his life behind him for good. 6 months later, Marcus stood on a runway in New York City. The lights were blinding. The music was pounding. The audience was a sea of faces, all watching, all waiting. He took a breath and stepped forward. The walk came naturally now, like it had never left him. Each step confident. Each movement deliberate. Each moment a reminder of who he was and who he had become. The applause was thunderous. After the show, Kelly found him backstage, her face glowing with pride. 3 standing ovations, she said. 3. Do you know how rare that is? I wasn't counting. Well, I was. And I'm telling you, Marcus, this is just the beginning. The offers are pouring in. Magazines, campaigns, endorsements. Everyone wants you. What about the watch brand? The second campaign. Already confirmed. They want you for their global rollout. Your face is going to be in every major city in the world. Marcus shook his head slowly. This still doesn't feel real. It's real. This is your life now. You earned it. He thought about those words a lot over the following months. Earned it. Had he earned it? Or had life simply given him a second chance? Maybe both. Maybe that was the point. His face appeared on billboards in Times Square. His story was featured in documentaries about second chances. He was invited to speak at events about resilience, about sacrifice, about the power of holding on to your dignity when the world tries to strip it away. Through it all, he stayed the same calm presence, the same quiet confidence, the same man who had washed cars in Bel Air and never forgotten who he was. One evening, about 8 months after the party, Marcus received an unexpected message. It was from Victoria. Can we meet? I have something I want to show you. He stared at the message for a long time. They hadn't spoken since that night at her house. He had heard things through the industry grapevine that she had sold her business, that she had moved to a smaller house, that she had dropped off the social scene entirely. But he hadn't reached out, and neither had she. Until now. He typed back, where? Her response came quickly. The coffee shop on Melrose, the small one. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. I'll be there. The coffee shop was indeed small, quiet, unpretentious. Nothing like the places Victoria used to frequent. Marcus arrived early and took a seat by the window. He watched the door, wondering what version of Victoria would walk through. At exactly 10 o'clock she appeared. He almost didn't recognize her. Her hair was shorter, simpler. Her clothes were understated jeans, a white blouse, flat shoes. No designer labels visible. No jewelry, except for a simple watch. But the biggest change was her face. The hardness was gone. The cruel edge that had defined her for so long had softened into something almost gentle. She spotted him and walked over. Her smile was nervous, uncertain. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Thank you for reaching out." She sat down across from him. A waitress approached and Victoria ordered a regular coffee. Not a complicated latte with specific temperature requirements. Just coffee. "You look different," Marcus said. "I am different. Or at least I'm trying to be." "What happened?" Victoria took a deep breath. "After you left that night, I did a lot of thinking. About who I was. About who I wanted to be. About all the damage I had done. And I realized you were right. I had built my entire life around being powerful, being feared, being superior. But none of that made me happy. None of that gave me peace. I was empty, Marcus. Completely empty." "So what did you do?" "I started over, sold the business, sold the house, got rid of almost everything. I kept telling myself I was simplifying, but really I was shedding. All the things I thought defined me, the money, the status, the possessions, I let them go." "That must have been hard." "It was terrifying, but also freeing. For the first time in my life, I wasn't performing. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was just existing." The waitress brought their coffees. Victoria wrapped her hands around the cup like she was holding on to something precious. "I reached out to Maria," she continued. "My former housekeeper. I apologized. Really apologized. Told her everything I should have said years ago." "What did she say?" "She cried. Then she hugged me. Then she told me that I still had a lot of work to do, but she was proud of me for starting." Marcus smiled. "That sounds like Maria. She's been helping me, checking in, holding me accountable. She's the first real friend I've had in years." "I'm glad." Victoria looked at him directly. "I also want to apologize to you again, properly. Not the rushed apology I gave at the party. A real one." "Victoria, please, let me finish." She took a breath. "I treated you horribly for 3 years. I demeaned you. I belittled you. I tried to humiliate you in front of hundreds of people. You didn't deserve any of it. You were kind and patient and dignified through all of it, and I was cruel and petty and small." Her eyes glistened with tears. "I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm truly deeply sorry. Not because my life fell apart. Not because I'm trying to get something from you. But because I finally understand what I did. I finally understand how wrong I was." Marcus was quiet for a moment, absorbing her words. "Thank you," he said finally. "That means a lot." "Does it?" "Even after everything. Especially after everything. Apologies are easy when they cost nothing. This one cost you something. I can see that." Victoria wiped her eyes. "I didn't know if you would come today. I thought maybe you were done with me, that you had moved on and I was just a bad memory." "You're not a bad memory. You're part of my story, and I don't regret any of it." "How can you not regret it?" 3 years of misery. "Because those 3 years led me here, to this moment, to the life I have now. If I hadn't gone through that, if I hadn't hit my own bottom, I might never have found my way back." That's very philosophical. "My mother's influence. She always said everything happens for a reason. I didn't believe her for a long time. Now I think she might have been right." Victoria smiled. It was a genuine smile. Maybe the first one Marcus had ever seen from her. "I have something for you," she said. She reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. "I wasn't sure if I should give this to you, but I decided I had to." Marcus took the envelope. Inside was a check. His eyebrows rose when he saw the amount. "This is your salary, 3 years of it, plus what I estimate I owed you in overtime weekends and all the extra work I never compensated you for." "Victoria, this is a lot of money." It's what I owe you. Actually, it's probably less than what I owe you, but it's what I could manage. I can't accept this. Please. I need you to take it. Not for you. For me. I need to make amends. Real amends. And this is part of it. Marcus looked at the check again. It was more money than he had made in his first year back in modeling. What do you want me to do with it? Whatever you want. Keep it. Donate it. Use it to help someone who needs it. I don't care. I just need to know that I tried to make things right. Marcus folded the check and put it in his pocket. There's a foundation I work with. They help families dealing with medical expenses, the kind of situation my mother went through. Then give it to them, all of it. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of the past finally lifting. What are you going to do now? Marcus asked. I don't know. That's the honest answer. I'm trying to figure out who I am without all the armor. It's hard, but also kind of exciting. Have you thought about helping people using your skills for good instead of profit? Victoria laughed softly. That's actually exactly what I've been thinking about. There's a nonprofit that works with low-income families, helping them with home repairs and design, making their spaces livable. Beautiful even. That sounds like meaningful work. It doesn't pay anything. The best things usually don't. Victoria nodded slowly. I'm going to do it. Volunteer at first. See where it leads. Good for you. I'm scared. That's okay. Being scared means you're doing something that matters. They finished their coffees and stood to leave. At the door, Victoria turned to him. Will I see you again? Maybe, if you keep doing the work, if you keep becoming the person you're trying to be. And if I stumble, everyone stumbles. The question is whether you get back up. Victoria smiled again, that new smile that looked so different from the old one. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. Take care of yourself, Victoria. He walked out into the Los Angeles sunshine. The city hummed around him, full of life and possibility. His phone buzzed. A text from Kelly. Just got off a call. You've been invited to walk in Paris Fashion Week. This is huge. Marcus smiled and typed back, tell them yes. He slipped the phone into his pocket and kept walking. Behind him was the past. The pain. The years of invisibility. Ahead of him was everything else. He thought about his mother, about what she would say if she could see him now. I knew it, baby. I always knew you would find your way back. Thanks, Mama, he whispered, for everything. A year later, Marcus stood in front of a crowd at a charity gala. The event was raising money for families dealing with medical crises, the same foundation he had donated Victoria's check to. I want to tell you a story, he said into the microphone. A story about a man who lost everything, found himself, and discovered that the only things that truly matter are the people we love and how we treat each other. The audience listened in silence. 15 years ago, I was a successful model. I had money, fame, everything society tells us to want. Then my mother got sick, and I gave it all up to save her. I don't regret it, not for a second, because those years I had with her were worth more than any magazine cover. He paused, gathering his thoughts. After she passed, I became invisible. I took a job as a driver for a wealthy woman who treated me like I was nothing. For 3 years, I said yes, ma'am, to every insult. I let myself disappear. But then something changed. That woman invited me to her birthday party as a joke. She wanted to humiliate me. Instead, I walked into that room and reminded myself and everyone else who I really was. The audience was captivated. That night changed my life. It gave me a second chance. But it also taught me something important. Dignity can't be taken away. It can only be given away. And I had been giving mine away for years. Tonight, I want to encourage all of you to remember that. Remember your worth. Remember that no one has the power to make you feel small unless you let them. And remember that it's never too late to start over. He raised his glass. To second chances, and to the people who help us find them. The room erupted in applause. After the speech, a woman approached him. It took him a moment to recognize her. Victoria. She looked healthy, peaceful, completely transformed from the woman he had known. "That was beautiful," she said. "Thank you for coming." "I wouldn't have missed it." She smiled. "The foundation director told me about the donation. She said it helped dozens of families last year." "That was your money." "It was your idea." They stood there, two people who had started as adversaries and somehow become something like friends. "How's the volunteer work?" Marcus asked. "Amazing, exhausting, fulfilling. Everything you said it would be." "I'm glad." "Me too." Victoria touched his arm briefly. "Thank you, Marcus, for showing me that change was possible. I wouldn't be here without you." "You did the work. I just pointed you in a direction." "Still, thank you." She disappeared back into the crowd, leaving Marcus alone with his thoughts. He looked around the room, at the people laughing, talking, connecting, at the silent auction, raising money for families in crisis, at the life he had built from the ashes of everything he had lost. His mother had been right. Everything did happen for a reason. Even the pain, even the humiliation, even the years of being invisible. It had all led him here, to this moment, to this life. Marcus Thompson smiled and stepped back into the crowd, ready for whatever came next. Because he finally understood the truth. The joke Victoria had played on him hadn't destroyed him. It had set him free, and he would never be invisible again.